So, let's do a real quick intro. If you're interested in the clay paint, skip closer to the end of the video. I'm going to talk a little bit about the clay paint that I've done in this room, or we done in this room and in the bathroom, a few things that we've learned, and why not be scared of it. But, I also wanted to do a house update. It's been a long time since I've done one, and primarily one of the ladies from HR at work was like, "Hey, how's your house going?" And I forgot that she watched my videos. And not a lot of people do. If you look at my views, you can tell. But for those who do care, I wanted to do a little quick update. It's been 3 months. I've been doing stuff just kind of in the afternoons, some weekends. I've had some folks come help me. Shout out to Will. He came out last weekend and gave me a hand. So with no further ado, just kind of want to do a little walk around and look at a few of the things that we've gotten done since my last house update. All right. So, starting in the man cave, this fancy dancy weird looking color. It looks a little bit different on camera, but Buck mixed that up. He helped paint that wall, and then the kids, Larry and Candace's kids, helped paint this wall, which the texture shows up a lot with the way the light's shining in right now. Most folks who do clay paint suggest doing the cross hatching, but doing multiple layers, and then you can actually go back and smooth it. You can add linseed to the mix and give it more of a sheen. You can buff it. You could do a ton with this paint, but we kind of like the idea of just the way the texture looked, the way it hits. This is one single coat and one really good coverage. And I plan on doing another clay paint video to talk about kind of how I prep these walls for it. Which you can see a little bit of the white shining through. But the idea of the man cave, it kind of looks more like a cave, Nikki says. So I had this texture up last time I did a video, but that trowel technique it saves a lot of time. This wall still needs to be done. Leaning towards oak. Originally I was going to do cedar, but I don't have, the cedar didn't go as far as we'd hoped. And I'll show you the bathroom in just a second. This is some oak that me and David cut. This fell down during Matthew during the hurricane at a neighbor's property, and we cut it up. And I've got some pretty decent gaps. I don't have a joiner. We ran all this to the planer, and I'm going to go back and sand it at some point. I've got a couple lips that I'm going to run the hand plane over to kind of smooth those out a little bit. I hadn't decided. I may do epoxy in some of these larger gaps like this. But I was thinking about, for now, just when I get it all laid down, do a real quick sand, or maybe not even a sand, just a sweep. Linseed oil, maybe linseed oil mixed with some kind of thinner, and just get them treated. And then later on, go back and play with them. They're a full 3/4 inch thick, all the way through. So I could sand these things 40 times, and still have plenty of meat left to play with. Face screwing them. And it's just with those little trim screws. They're pretty great, other than the square heads, strip out pretty darn easy. Focus. Anyways, so they're just little trim screws. I've got some longer ones that I started out with, and then I had these, and I just went and bought some more that are kind of in the middle. So, but it's got a pretty neat little staggered pattern. And I'm going to come back with these wide ones in the middle. The baby's been hanging out while I do a little bit of work here and there. And Nikki. So, as far as tools go, I've bought a bunch of cheap tools here and there throughout the year. This is one of the ones that I'm planning on doing a review at some point on. I think it's a Win. Nope, Tack Life. One of the cheapest things you can get on Amazon. And I want to do a little review. This thing's a pretty mean little machine, and I plan on using it to smooth out some of the edges in here. If I was patient and did what I was supposed to, I'd plane each one of these boards to get them nice and tight and perfect to each other. I found I've been scribing these. I started out not scribing them, and then started scribing them, and you can see the joints get tighter and tighter. This one probably a little bit too tight because it's got part of the board popping up now from this one. And this is a little technique for getting them closer together. You screw these down to the floor, and then you take your hammer and just beat this top wedge in, and that squishes them to get them nice and tight. This oak is really bad about kind of warping and cupping and just everything you don't want it to do. Moving on, enough of this room. This is my little buddy's bathroom, really / guest bathroom, whatever. I got these lights installed. We'll get above them so you can see. I don't think I had my tin up last time. Just some old roofing tin. I got this from Dana and his sons. They gave it to me. I put a coat of linseed oil over it just to kind of knock down the rust a little bit, not much. I screwed it up with, where's that, cabinet screws, but I took and spray painted them black first. This is more the clay paint. This is the one we did first, and this is the room that I did kind of a plaster mix of drywall mud and plaster of Paris and drawed the whole thing. And it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's got some really neat textures in it too. I gotta go back and put cover plates on. This is the live edge cedar trim. I did it as a baseboard around the doors. Here's our little sink. Got it hooked up. Pretty swanky. Off of Amazon. I think it was like 75 bucks. But it's pretty neat. Toilet. Nothing makes you feel more like an adult than buying a toilet, other than, like, you know, having a kid and bills and stuff. But it's like the pinnacle of adulthood, buying a toilet. So this is my slate floor. I think I showed that in the last video. I've just got it covered up right now to try to keep it decent. So, swanky double flusher. Oh, I think I'd peed. So, might need a tiny bit of adjustment, but that was a struggle to get in. Will came and helped me, and the slate tiles, none of them come out the same size. And I would suggest if you do this in the future, to try to make sure your slate tiles, at least around where you're going to be putting, you know, vanity or toilet or something like that, you get them as level as possible. Because I've got a little bit of a gap on the other side. This is the live edge wall. It's kind of like board and batten, but what I did was I took, you know, the underboards. Most of these have a flat edge, so we cut on them, and then the live edge on the side. And people are going to ask, you know, what about the bark? That's going to make a mess all the time. Well, it's a guy's bathroom. It looks really cool. And I've seen cedar hold its bark for a really long time. And when little buddy gets a little bit bigger, if he wants to, I may have him sand it, and we'll put another coat of cedar oil or something on this. But it's going to change. I've still got to go through and trim through here. And I plan on building a big shelf that came out, but then the clearance of the toilet's not going to allow it. So I just got to go back and trim this out with cedar too. And wire brush and paint that window. So a lot going on. Nursery is kind of the catch-all for tools and stuff right now. So there's a nursery wall for those who hadn't seen it. It's kind of pine siding. We put it up a little bit green, and then when the humidity changes in winter and stuff like that, it started to get a little bit of mold. Traditionally, we try not to use any chemicals at all, but I did want to put in bleach on that just because I needed it to stay nice. Always an absolute mess. Oh, this bathroom. I have not showed this bathroom off, and if you're still at this point in the video and haven't steered away, or if you're clicking through, vinyl floors. We said we were not going to use any. The floor underneath here was in pretty unusual state. And I plan on at some point in life, in a few years, going through and re-gutting this bathroom, doing a big walk-in shower, and everything else. So we're trying to get this bathroom usable. The code guy said for us to have our power turned on. I've got it rigged up right now, but to have it turned on, and to be approved to move in, I've got to have functioning bathrooms, insulated attic, functioning kitchen, etc., etc. So there's our swanky vanity. Just got this done yesterday. This hole that was in here, this ceramic type bowl, and the glazing was super hard. I drilled it out. I had to buy a special bit from Amazon for tile, and it wasn't big enough to drill this hole. So I took this file and sandpaper and everything else under the sun. This is a diamond plated tile file, and I used it to file a hole bigger, and it took half a century. But found this picture, stick it down in there. You can take and clean it off as you go and file some more. But I about wore this thing out doing just this hole. So this little pot close faucet was off of Amazon too. Quite fancy. And then this is a kitchen spigot. I caught it on, honestly I caught it on one of the special buys or something like that, but I just figured it would work perfect in here. we thought we were gonna be in the house sooner. And I was like, oh, we could put little buddy in there, give him a bath. But now he's way too big for that thing now. The other toilet, still pretty proud. Those who haven't watched my videos, I haven't had a toilet. Yeah, so it's just great. That tub, we got the leg mended, still filled with crap. Gotta get all that filled out. And here, this has become the cut room for right now, but this is our master room. These are all our cabinets that are painted, ready to go back in, other than having to paint the actual cabinets themselves. This is the oak that's going on in the man cave. This is my fancy Tack Life bulk. I bought this about 2 or 3 weeks ago. 12-inch compound sliding miter saw. I want to do a full review on this tool, so if you're something you're interested in, let me know. I'm either going to do it. I'm going to do it either way. I think it's pretty nice, but it's like certain things came broken on it. Right here, it's a little quick nut that you're supposed to be able to tighten. And I haven't got it dialed in. The laser's in a terrible place because every time you throw sawdust back, it covers up the laser, so it's completely useless. Rambling aside, I need to get it painted in here. The ceiling needs to be painted. I say this in every video, but it's because we ain't got around to do it. Probably another coat of lime wash on these walls. I did a little video. You can go back and look at that on mixing the lime wash and using it. It's cheap. It turns out really white. You can pigment it. And stuff like that. I kind of decided this morning I think I'm going to come back and fix this corner. I was just going to case it. But I think I'm going to come back and fix the drywall on there. And the drywall on there. That corner there. That way I don't have to case it. But I don't know. We'll see. We definitely got to paint the ceiling. Or, I don't know. I was thinking about doing some funky stuff. If I do some funky stuff, I will let you know. Oh, and here. The kitchen is a complete disaster. I got this beam. Mr. Mark gave me this beam, and it doesn't quite fit the space fully from full span. Plus, it's kind of want something bigger. So I'm gonna see about talking to him about getting something bigger cut. I've got a pine in the yard I could take down. I've got an oak still sitting back there that needs to be cut up. So I'm gonna talk to him about that. Will got the dishwasher out. We've got to clean that because that's disgusting. It's one of the few spots in the house that we haven't cleaned. And for those who don't know, this house was abandoned for about 8 years, so it's been a really long haul getting back to this point. Cabinets need to be painted, uppers and lowers. I really love this countertop. This came in the house. My buddy said it was pine. I'm pretty darn sure. I mean, it's cedar. I ain't no arguing that. So it's really neat, and it goes with. We didn't know this until we cleaned it off the other day, in a thick layer of dust. I think Mom cleaned it. Still got drywall patches to do here. Still got to figure that out. But it'll go nice. I've got a bar that we built at the school. It's going to come across here. And the stove's going to go pretty much around that area. The bar will be just higher than the stove. I got to figure out venting it and everything. So, and I'll show you that bar. And we'll close out there. I said I'd talk more about clay paint. This video is already way too long. The short version is... ours, we didn't go through all the crazy steps. Boy, there's our bar. It had some rot in it, and the only way I really knew how to deal with it and salvage any of this is the epoxy. So the epoxy turned out really nice. It's clear, so you can see down into the voids. And it came all the way through. That was quite a learning curve. As far as this goes, there's nothing on here but butcher block oil. And it's been sanded down to 1,000 grit, so it's smooth as glass. So, I don't know how stable it's going to be in here, but once we get air conditioner and stuff like that, it should stabilize. So, it is thick. I think it's 2.5 inches thick. So, she's medius. But that's that. That's our house update. Way longer than I intended it to be. And I was going to bring little buddy over, but he decided to take a nap. And I was like, I need to get this done before I start working. Because if I don't do it now, I won't do it. But yeah, back to the clay paint. It's awesome. Ours is just clay and water. I'll do a separate video on that. I plan on getting to it, but I talked about it a little bit more during the video if I plan to. So let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in. Out.